And welcome back to another episode of Everyman Driver alongside Dave Erickson. I'm Alex LaFreese. Make sure to hit the subscribe button to receive all of our new video uploads.
I am so excited about today's episode because we have two cars that directly compete against each other. We have the 2013 Mitsubishi Outlander Sport and the car that Alex is sitting on, the 2013 Subaru XV Crosstrek. Boy, it's going to be fun.
Dave, we're going to tell you everything we like about these vehicles, what we don't like, engine, performance, rear leg room, ride and handling, and finally, Dave, which one of these we would actually choose. Thanks so much for watching. Everyman Driver starts now. The power plants in the Mitsubishi and Subaru are about as similar on paper as you could imagine. They are both 2 liters, 4 cylinders, producing 148 horsepower. The Subaru is the famous Boxster. Mitsubishi is a more standard inline 4-cylinder. Now, they're also both paired to CVTs, but that's where the similarities end. The Subaru's engine absolutely feels better. Mitsubishi's just feels more elementary, there's more vibration, definitely not as good. However, the Mitsubishi transmission is awesome, one of the best CVTs I've felt, and if you want to use the paddle shifters, they actually work. The Subaru's transmission does not feel as good, and when you're accelerating, it seems like you'll get to about 3,500 RPM, and the tach will just sit there and rev there for about 5 seconds before it finally shifts down to the next gear. So Dave, let's find out how these do at the pump.
All right, fuel economy, at least the EPA estimates here on the Mitsubishi, not as good as the Subaru. They call this one 24 in the city and 29 on the highway, so mixed driving there in the upper 20s, but this is the better value when it comes to fuel economy on the road. 25 miles per gallon in the city, up to 33 on the highway, and both with CVT. Now, if you do get the manual with the Crosstrek, gas mileage won't be as good, so in terms of which one to choose, this might be the better choice, the Subaru. Let's talk about the ride and handling, because I'm not excited about it. I'm not a big fan. It just feels like it's slow. It's just, I don't know. I don't want to get up to speed. I know it's a smaller engine, but the engine says, don't push me too hard.
No, absolutely. Other engines in this class don't have any more horsepower, you know, right around 150, but they feel better than this. This engine feels dated. It feels like it's working. You're getting a lot of vibration through the steering wheel, vibration through the gas pedal. You just can tell that it's not as refined as you know, as something like an EcoBoost from Ford, or you know, a 4-cylinder Boxer from Subaru. Some of these engines that just are really well thought out. The steering in this is good enough. You know, electronic, comparable with most of the other stuff out there. But yeah, there is just an overall refinement that is missing. The ride is good, suspension's pretty good. I think this car would do fine off-road, but it's like this car just needs one more generation of refinement to really get this down.
It's a competitive segment. You have the Ford Escape, you've got the Subaru, the now XV Crosstrek, which is very competitive, and even the Nissan Juke.
Yeah, you know, this is going to be on the cheaper end of the segment. Not by a ton, but with several of these cars by, you know, a couple $1,000, $2,000 or $3,000, which, hey, when you're only paying, you know, 18 to 23, say, for a car, that's a decent amount. That being said, for me, the extra $2,000 or $3,000 to get, you know, the quality and refinement you're going to get in, say, a Ford or a Subaru is worth it.
All right, Alex, ride and handling inside the 2013 Subaru XV Crosstrek. Not too shabby. It's a little bit low to the ground. It feels like it's low to the ground,
yeah.
Even though I know it has about 9 inches of ground clearance. It feels like it's a smooth riding vehicle for a crossover.
Yeah, we're on a pretty bumpy road, and it's soaking up the bumps pretty darn well.
How's it feel to you when it comes to going around corners and taking the road?
Surprisingly good. It feels like a Subaru, which people always go, well, what does that mean? If you drive enough of them, you just start to figure it out. It's not a bad feel at all, but Subarus sort of have a feel to the steering and the suspension and the chassis, but feels really good. It feels a lot like an Impreza, surprise, surprise, because that's what this car's based on, same engine. It's really just a little taller. So overall feels really positive. The steering is good. Engine, as I said, is really good and smooth. The transmission, though, is really where this car falls short. It's a CVT, and like I said during the under the hood segment, every time it's like the CVT just doesn't want to shift, and you just feel the car whining before it shifts down. So that's really the only negative from a driving standpoint of this car.
I'm gonna disagree just a little bit because I've driven other CVTs and this one feels smoother than, let's say, maybe the Mitsubishi Outlander Sport, where it felt a little more sluggish and a vibration behind the wheel, where this one feels a little bit smoother. And I don't really notice that CVT drawl as it goes along. So maybe just a different point of view on my previous experiences with other CVTs.
Rear legroom in the Outlander Sport is actually pretty good. This is not a huge car, and I'm 6'2". The seat here in front of me is positioned where I was driving, and although my knees are lightly pressing up against the back seat, this is really pretty good. I would say slightly better than or equal to most other cars in the class. Back seat room in the Crosstrek is actually pretty good. The seats, it's interesting, there's this fold down here, and so my knees are touching, but the rest of my legs aren't. I am in the same driving position, and I'm a pretty big guy. So for a car this size, really can't complain.
All right, folks, let's take a closer look at the cargo room back here in the Crosstrek and the Mitsubishi, and it becomes clear right away which one has more room. But I think when you understand the Subaru brand, you know that it's meant for durability, and that's why this liner is in here that, hey, you can scratch it up and have a lot of fun, but over there, a lot nicer look.
Yeah, the dog cage does not come standard. Our tester has that, but Dave, you nailed it on the head. This is a little bigger, and with the seats down, it's still both a little deeper and a little taller, but really it comes down to refinement. This is a little bit more of a city mobile that's, you know, got that bit of an off-road nature, and this also has this sweet Rockford Fosgate sub, and we'll talk about the system later, but overall these are both pretty good when it comes to cargo space, edge to the Mitsubishi.
Absolutely. So the MSRP here on the 2013 Subaru Crosstrek XV, we're looking at $22,500 for the premium, a few extra grand for the limited. Right here on the Mitsubishi, you can get it as low as $19,000, and for the highest trim level, as we have tested here, $23,600. So let's talk about some pros and cons, beginning with the Mitsubishi.
Well, obviously the Mitsubishi across the scale is going to be a little bit more affordable, which is great. You know, I think it's really good looking. The Mitsubishi, to me, it has more bells and whistles, but it's not as good a car to begin with. The Subaru, on the other hand, is the better car to begin with, but you're going to pay for it, you know, to get the bells and whistles. And even the Subaru, as decked out as you can get it, still doesn't have quite the goodies on paper that the Mitsubishi does.
Now, I really like the size and feel of this vehicle. I don't think the engine and performance is to my liking. A little sluggish, but I really love the way the Subaru handles.
Yeah.
And it's got a smoother ride to me. Not as many bells and whistles like you said, but we do have the top trim level here on the Mitsubishi. So I'm a little torn because this looks like a bigger, bolder vehicle, but when it comes to Subaru, that badge really carries a lot of weight, and I would go with the Subaru personally.
Yeah, Dave, I would go with the Subaru as well. And I commend Mitsubishi because they're getting closer. Before, especially amongst car guys, it was like you either wanted the Evo from Mitsubishi or you didn't want a Mitsubishi. And so they're getting closer. It's like they need to come out with the next generation Outlander with some of the really cool stuff that they finally put into this one, and I think they could compete with cars like the Crosstrek and, you know, the Forester from Subaru.
We are splitting hairs here because we're going to have to make a decision. We're giving you the pros and cons and what our choices are.
Yeah.
So they're not bad cars, but if we had to make a choice, obviously we're going to go with the Subaru. Yeah. Alongside Alex DeFries, I'm Dave Erickson. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Dave Erickson, so glad you're watching. And remember to click on that subscribe button so you can receive updates on our new video uploads. We have a beautiful blue Mitsubishi right here now in car. What it is, Dave, this is the Outlander Sport. We have a speed, feeling you're going to like forward drive, and sounds like a good thing. Utility. Coming up on this episode.